Hi, welcome to the Knitting Concierge. This is my first video, but I got some good info for you. I'm going to tell you what I did on my summer vacation, just like in school. So, let's just say we went on a little trip to Vermont. And, well, we stayed at a little place, an Airbnb called A Wing and a Pear Farm. So, I have some information for you. But let's first get the introductions out of the way. I'm Dawn, I'm the Knitting Concierge, and welcome to my first video. Okay, I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Hey everyone! Hi. I've been knitting for about 12 years now, and I got a lot to show you. I got some yarn, some acquisitions. I got some works in progress. And I'll tell you all about our wicked trip to Wing and a Pear Farm. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about acquisitions, because I did a little shopping while I was on vacation. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And my first acquisition actually was not at a Wing and a Prayer. We were driving in West Virginia, and we went to the American Glass Museum in a little town. See if it's in here on the receipt. Yep. In Bradford, Pennsylvania. Okay? It's got glass manufacturing. It used to be the hub of all glass manufacturing in the United States. It manufactured at one time in the early 1900s like 80% of the glassware in this country. It was awesome. The museum, if you're into that kind of history stuff, was so cool because it took you through the entire history of glass making in the United States of America. And it shows you all the different styles of glass as it went through. Well, anyway, driving out, going on our way to Pennsylvania from West Virginia. Actually, this is in Pennsylvania. Okay, so we're driving out, and on our way out, I see alpacas, and I scream, "Alpacas!" My husband says, "Should we stop?" And I'm like, and guess what? Good husband. He stops the car, turns around, and we go back to see the alpacas. Ah! Yes, we did. I can't tell you how shocked I was that he actually stopped and turned around. I don't know what came over him, but he did it. So anyway, I got to meet the guy who owns the alpaca farm. It's called Kendall Creek Farms Alpaca. And I bought this alpaca. It's an Aran weight in 3 colors. I have brown, white, it's a cream, and these are all natural colors. These are the colors that comes off the alpaca. So I didn't want it dyed, I wanted it natural. So I have 2 of the darker brown, 2 of the cream color, and 2 of the tan. So as you can see, I have enough here to make some kind of color work. Yay me, right? With this. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. But yes, it was awesome. The guy, Mr. Kendall himself was so good. We petted some of the more friendly ones. Alpacas are not known for their friendliness. They'll look at you. They'll walk over to you. But if you try to pet them, they're like, oh dude, no touching the personage. But he had one girl alpaca that he says is his PR llama, his PR alpaca. And she let me pet her. There were baby alpacas, and it was just awesome. Awesome. And so, bought some yarn. Then, we drove on. Oh, I've got 3 skeins of that. Anyway, we drove on, and we finally made it to our Airbnb at, you guessed it, Winging a Prayer Farm. Did you know? I didn't know until July that she had an Airbnb that she would rent out. I was like, what? Yeah, all you have to do is go on to Airbnb, type in Winging a Prayer Farm, and Tammy's place comes right up. Just like you see it on her Instagram. It's awesome. Okay. Everybody needs to go, okay? If you like farms, if you like sheep, if you like a dog that needs to have their sticks thrown, this is the place for you. And it was quite comfortable. Just so you know, it has no air conditioning. It has fans though, and it was quite comfortable in the evening, as it gets a little chillier in the evening in Vermont. So we get there, and the dog greets us. Okay, Nessie greets us. And we pass all of the fields we're coming in. It's easily labeled. The GPS thing on your phone led us right to her. And it has her name on the mailbox, Winging a Prayer Farm. So it was easy peasy to find. And you drive down this lovely lane with pastures on both sides. And there are grazing sheep and alpacas on either side. I'm like, oh, and there's some goats too. So, all right, so we're coming in, and there we get out of the car, and she greets us, and she's just as lovely as can be, because I've never met her in person. I've only followed her on Instagram. She is as nice as she is on the Instagrams. She's like real. So Tammy was so gracious. She let us get in, and of course Nessie had to introduce herself a lot. So she stood outside the door as we are, on the porch, and she would bring us sticks and everything. The chickens are roaming around. There's a turkey. The sheep are in the meadow over there buying. There's a couple of other dogs barking, her guard dogs, because when she has guests, the guard dogs go over into their pen so they can relax because they're not working. So we get there, then we have to explore the place. And that's our dog, Rex. You might hear them. We have 2 dogs, a big dog named Rex and a little dog named Rascal, Jack Russell Pitbull. Anyway, so we get there, and she lets us go anywhere we went to on the farm. We went everywhere, and I'm like, so the first place I did was we went over to the barn, And of course, I had to check on Bilbo. And as we have found out now, because right after I left, the vet came. We all know Bilbo was, you know, had the hoof accident because he's, you know, a donkey and donkeys do things. So he had his hoof injury, and we, right after I left, the vet came and gave him a clean bill of health and said it was healing good and that Bilbo hopefully has a long life ahead of him. Yes! So we got to meet them. We got to meet the senior ladies. All the senior ladies who get to roam around free. And I sat there for the longest time petting them in the barn. Bilbo was there. The horses were there. The other donkey was there. What else was in there? Let's see. Anyway. Oh, and the cats, the barn cats. So, you know, like Wasabi, the black cat. Yes, they all made an appearance. And so it was just, you know, farm life. Walked past Peppermint the pig, Princess Peppermint, by the way. She was asleep most of the time. She did come out and eat her dinner. And so we just explored the farm for the rest of the day. I walked down the lane a little bit to the lambs and the mams and saw all the baby sheep with their mamas. There was their llamas on the other side, directly across the lambs from lambs and mams, and then there were the boy band right next to the llamas. So we had a great time. I knit for a while. We relaxed because we had been on the road for quite some time, and we had a beautiful night's sleep there. With the windows open and a fan blowing, and it was just lovely because it got down into the 60s that night. It was beautiful. I wake up early the next morning because that's all the day we have, but in the meantime, I had come over to Tammy's office to see the wool. Let me share with you what I have purchased. All in these really cool linen bags, cotton or linen bags. I think they're cotton or linen. Anyway, I'm untying the bag. And here's a picture. Okay, I bought 2 kinds of yarn. And this is the Happiest Yarn. It's sport weight. It's Rami Shetland Clue Forest. It's their blend from all their breeds of sheep at the farm. And I bought 10 skeins of this. For a sweater, like an Aran weight sweater, or an Aran sweater for my husband, who has been asking for a sweater pretty much ever since I started knitting. So I guess, since he was such a great guy turning around, you know, he finally got the hint. When I say, alpacas, or sheep, that means, please stop and turn around, because I want to pet them. So I bought 10 skeins of this. There are 300 yards on each skein, so there's about 3,000 yards. So, and my husband is a very tall man. He's 6'3", about 280, and he's a tall man. I have to knit a lot. So, and I figure I'm going to be making him a long sleeve sweater. So I'll need probably every bit of that 3,000 yards. So, smells sheepy. It's so yummy. So that is one of the things I bought there. And then I bought some breed specific yarn in a couple of different colors for a yoke. This is going to be the base of the sweater. And I bought 5 skeins of this in the cream color. It's, oh, and on the back, I want you to see, she's told you the names of the sheep. You can't see it, can you? The names of the sheep that the wool came from. Awesome. So I'm going to have a little bit of Bonnie, Bluma, Birch, Martha, Mary, Peter Pan, Miles, Moses, Michael, and Mitchell, which are Carmo sheep. So it's going to be very light and bouncy. There's a lot of bounce in this, as you can see. So I bought a darker purple, a lighter purple, sort of a goldish yellow, and a teal blue as accent. Oh my goodness. My husband is saving my yarn because the dog ran off with it. I did not know. I was busy talking to you. You would have thought. So I am going to use this in a another color work. This weight is it's 100 grams, 210 yards, US 8, so 4 to 4.5. So it's either a heavy worsted or an Aran weight yarn. So I'm very excited to all of them. It says this is Peter Pan and Fam. All the color ones, it looks like, are Peter Pan and Fam. And if you follow Tammy on Wing and a Prayer Farm on Instagram, she dyes her own yarn with botanical dyes. So you can, if you're a Patreon member, she has a Patreon account, you can actually, I don't know exactly what she does there because I'm not yet a patron, but I am going to be. But she dyes on her back porch using botanical materials. She dyes herself, grows herself, and picks and dries, and then uses it to dye the wool that comes from the mill. And this is what the yarn looks like in this case before it gets dyed in with her botanicals. I don't know what, I think this is Coreopsis, the golden color. I am not for sure what the other colors are to get these colors because, honest to God, I was just happy to be there. So then we wake up, so after I spent a week's worth of pay in her little shop in about, I'd say 20 minutes, and come home with at least 6 months worth of knitting to do. if not more. Shoot, it'd take me 6 months just to knit the man the sweater. Anyway, we went to bed and it was great. We wake up in the morning. I wake up bright and early, and I go out to the barn, and because the lambs and the mams come in for the evening into the barn for safety's sake. And I meet, oh my goodness. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she's the
Char?
No, not Char. Beth? Anyway, she was out there. She's a young girl. She's going to be going off to college. She is going off to college now. And she was working with the sheep and getting them out. And I said, well, let me do something. It's 7 a.m. in the morning. I had had breakfast and I was raring to go because I wasn't just going to stay on a farm and do nothing, right? So she goes, well, all I have to do is muck the stalls and stuff. And I said, well, let me do it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said, let me muck the stalls. And I did. I mucked both stalls. Well, it's like one big stall, but it has a divider in it. So she makes one set of sheep on one side and one set of the sheep on the other side. So I mucked both sides. And to muck stalls, I said, I said, I have no problem mucking stalls. I don't think it's a skilled labor job. But you are going to have to tell me what to do because, well, I've never mucked a stall. Got the verbiage down, but I've never done it. So she tells me what to do, which is to use this rake and to gather up all the used and wet and pooed on and peed on hay that's on the floor, and scoop it up, and then you put it, you kind of scoop it up into a big pile, and then you take a big giant shovel and pick it up, and it's heavy, by the way. Mucking stalls takes energy and some muscles, okay? No wonder she's got a sore back. Anyway, so I'm picking it up, and we put it into this little cart on the outside in the middle of the barn. So you rake it all up, and you pick it up with the shovel, and you put the used stuff into the little cart. Then you take like a broom and you sweep up sort of like the rest of the stuff, because you can't get it really all with the rake. You have to sort of sweep it. And you sweep it up and you get it onto the shovel and you sort of clean it up. Just sort of like at home. You sweep it up, and they've got a broom that they use for that. It's got stiffer bristles. Then I went to the other side, repeated the process, and then I had to find Char because I didn't know what to do with the stuff that was in the little cart. She says, no, I'll take care of that, take care of that. She goes, it goes out into the compost. So they've got a compost pile out back yonder, right before you go into the back pastures, where they have more sheep. And so she did that. And that took a good hour and a half or so, because, this was my first time and I'm not very efficient at it. But anyway, it was great fun. I felt like a farmer. I felt like I contributed to the welfare of the sheep. And then I picked out some crab apples that had fallen on the ground, because they said we could feed them to anyone that would eat them. So I picked up several and came and fed the outside donkeys. There were 2 of them, and the horse. and Bilbo and the senior ladies. I fed them some too. And while my husband played Go Throw the Stick with Nessie, because that's what Nessie does. Nessie goes and gets the stick, but doesn't bring it back.
She brings it back, but she just didn't give it to you.
Oh, did you hear him? He says she brings it back, but she won't give it to you. So you have to find another stick. She will drop that stick and go after the other stick. And she likes sticks a lot. And she would stand there and she sat with us for a long time. She was just a very friendly dog. So we had a great time, and then it was time, pretty much, we tidied up. I stripped the bed, threw it in the wash, and got her going on that because Tammy had work to do. She couldn't stand around and play concierge to us all day. She had work to do. She was meeting with some ladies who own a mill in a small town that we had just come through in Pennsylvania or New York. Can't remember. We had come through that not too long ago, and she had taken some wool to them to be spun. And if you follow her on Instagram, she showed you that her wool had come back and that they were going to dye it soon. So that actually happened, and they turned around, the mill turned it around in like 2 weeks. It was really fast. I was still on vacation, for God's sakes. And then we went on to our house that we rented, a VRBO, outside in Hyde Park in Vermont. So we stayed there, we hiked. John tried to kill me, that is my husband's name, tried to kill me once by taking me on a moderate hike, which included a almost vertical staircase in which I backed down like I was 2 years old. And it was pretty much a good hike up and a swift drop down. It was absolutely beautiful though. It was hot and there were lots of bugs, but it was absolutely beautiful. So that was, and we went on another hike later on to a falls. Did much better there. So that was awesome. Went to several arboretums. Went to an arboretum in Pittsburgh, which I think you ladies in Pittsburgh, gentlemen and knitters and crocheters, fiber friends in Pittsburgh, you really need to check out your Pittsburgh Botanical Garden. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it would be awesome to have a knitting group that meets there. It's really nice. It's set up very nice for that. You can take your chairs in. There are chairs there, but you can either go up to the area, the covered area where they do children's activities and other activities up there, or you could take yourself down to the lake, the pond, I guess, and sit down out there. It is absolutely gorgeous. They have a fairy garden. They have a reclaimed woods with different kinds of trees in there. It was absolutely stunning. It really was. We enjoyed ourselves there quite a bit. They have apple trees there of different varieties on the other side, because it continues on the other side of the road. But Pittsburgh knitters, heads up, go to the Pittsburgh Botanical Garden. Check it out. All right. So it was time to do laundry. And we went into Morrisville. And I'd done the laundry, and lo and behold, we're leaving, going back to the house, and on this marquee underneath where it's a flower, it's like a flower shop and a garden center, and on there it said yarn. I said, yarn? And I don't know what got into him again. The man turned around again. Gold star for him, right? I'm like, yarn at the garden center? No. Well, you know, in Iceland and in Norway and stuff, they have yarn like at the grocery store and at the gas station. So it's not unheard of, but I had to check it out. So we went inside, and yes, something caught my eye. They had a lot of different colors of letlopi, and letlopi is what is used in the Trieste pattern from Knit Love Wool, Jennifer Steingass. And I happen to really love Jennifer Steingass's patterns. I have like several. No, we're not even going to talk about that. I got a lot of Jennifer Steingass. So anyway, if you check my Instagram out at KnittingConcierge, you will see that I knit the arboreal sweater using some regular Barocco vintage in DK, or I can't remember. And I used a Crazy Dog Yarns self-striping for the leaf pattern on the front. So that is also in my Ravelry. If you can use Ravelry, I have it under Colleen's sweater, and it's a finished object. And because my niece Colleen came to stay with me this summer, and so we picked out some colors and some yarn, and I knit her a sweater, and she went home with it. I started it at the end of July, at the end of June, and finished it before I let her go on the 3rd. I think I finished it August 2nd. So I was in the mood for another Jennifer Steingass, and they had the letlopi. And they had an eggplant colorway, a gold colorway. By the way, I don't think they name their colors. They're just colors. This is the colorway number 9264. And the eggplant colorway is 9429. And I have a lovely sagey green in the colorway 1417. So these are the colors for the 3 colors for the Trieste on the top of the yoke. And this colorway is 1418, so 1418, and it's a cream color, maybe an ecru color for the body. So this is going to be my colors for the Trieste sweater, and I had them in a box. So I shoved yarn is squishy, so I took one of the bags that they had given me at Wing and a Prayer Farm with my yarn in it, shoved that yarn into the other bag, shove, and then shoved this in here to keep it safe, because I bought enough to make myself a sweater. So those were my yarn purchases and what I did this summer. On my way back and during my vacation, If you follow me on Instagram at KnittingConcierge, you are going to see what I have done on my vacation. So let's talk whips. Ta-da! This is the project bag. This is a Whimsy Stitches project bag. I think in the large, it has a handle. He always sends you a handle. And of course, my Bucky the Beaver, because now in Florida, we have Buckies! Yes, sirree, Bob. So I have my little Buckies there. Let's open this puppy up. And I have my forsythia. Can you see it? So I picked up the second sleeve, and there it sat for a while because I was kind of tired of knitting. Sleeve Island, I swear to God, Sleeve Island. This is a kit from Barrett Wool Co. You know Susan B. Anderson's yarn company, Barrett Wool Co. She sells kits, and I had been wanting to knit this forsythia. It's ever since I saw Jennifer Seingas post it, and she was asking for test knitters. Of course I put my name in. Did I get it? No, don't worry about it. I'm good. I'm a slow knitter. So it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. There is the colorways are, let's see if I can, here we go. The green is loam, I do believe. This color here, I think, is thimble. And hold on. The other color is, oh no, of course that says thimble. Oh. Thimble. And so I can't tell you. Here. Oh, Garner. So there's a light gray, which is flecked. It is kind of tweedy. It's in her woolens, and it has the cutest label ever. It's got a little cabin in the woods, in a pine woods, and there's a little smoke coming from the cabin. It's great. So it's with thimble, loam, and garner. And it has this fantastic sort of weedy pattern at the top. By the way, Jennifer Seingas makes some of the best yokes in the business. They look terribly difficult, but they are not. So I suggest, if you wanted to make an easy first sweater, arboreal is it. This forsythian, it was very easy to do. It wasn't difficult at all. I did modify the neckline a bit because I made I knit the neckline for the biggest size because I find that I like a little space around my neck. I like the neckline to come out a little bit. And then what I did is I just knit even and till it was in the rows where it told you to increase. I just knit even until I had that number of stitches in the row that I had worked with, and then I started increasing from there. So there you go. also, I did modify the underarms a bit, made the sleeves a bit bigger, because the size that I was making, which was a 48, to fit my bust, was the sleeves were going to be 2 inches too small for my upper arm, which was like 15 and a half or something, and I easily need a 17 to be comfortable. So I cast on under the sleeve the maximum number of stitches for the that size of, I think it was an 18 inches sleeve. So, and then decreased the stitches out, making sort of like a V underneath the sleeve, so that I would have enough stitches for my sleeve. So I did that. And I decreased on this side and found out I have longer arms than I thought, because I just had to keep knitting and knitting. Now, you're supposed to only knit, I guess, like 3.5 or 16 inches of sleeve. Well, I have, I think, 18 inches of sleeve, and then I knit the 3.5 inch cuff. Why? Because I plan on knitting or flipping the cuff up like this, or wearing it so that it goes over my hand when it gets cold. I may go back in and graft in a thumb hole later on, but I live in Florida, so the likelihood that I'll actually need that for warmth, ladies, this is my one woolen sweater for when it gets down to 50 and everybody's wearing parkas. Okay, because I live in Southeast Florida and everybody breaks out the parkas as soon as it gets under 70. Swear to God. Parkas, hats, gloves, the whole 9 yards. So this is almost done. So this is a work in progress. And ladies, I have a hoe. I have a hoe. This bag right here is holding my hoe. Actually, I'm holding the hoe, but it's holding the yarn for this. This yarn is KnitSpinFarm in the National Owl Week, I think it's National Owl Week. I call it my Parliament of Owls yarn. And I belong to KnitSpinFarm, which is Joanne in Indiana. She has a lesser known holidays club. And if you like striping yarn, self-striping yarn, you really need to check her out. I love hers. She is the only one I still subscribe to because it's awesome. Every single time it blows my mind. Her colorways are spot on. I fell in love with it when the first yarn that I got was the periodic table, and she literally made the rows match the number of the on the periodic table. So it was absolutely awesome. I was like, what? It was great. So yeah, I was quite impressed with that. That just made my geekometer explode. I did not realize that I was such a nerd, but yes, I am. So, and I order my yarn with a mini. So I had a coordinating mini with it. And so I have a hoe, and I have yet to start the second sock because my vacation quite wasn't over. I came back, went to work, and then it was Labor Day. And well, a friend said, hey, would you like to come down to Key Largo for the weekend? I was like, duh, yeah. And my friend Cheryl, she's a crocheter. Oh my gosh, she crochets the best stuff. She makes animals. So anyway, I had a cranked tube from KnitSpinFarm because of their sport weight. And this is what's left in the middle. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make my husband a pair of socks, being the wonderful wife that I am, over the weekend. And sure enough, I unraveled it from one end and knit the cuff, and I cut in at a True Afterthought heel using Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears podcast umbrella heel, a True Afterthought heel. Picked up the stitches. It works every time. That's another really good designer. If you're a beginner sock knitter, Kay Jones and the umbrella socks will teach you all kinds of things from the True Afterthought heel to a sewn bind off to a rounded toe. That's a good designer. And she walks you through every single thing, and she has links to do so you can watch her do things. Like, for example, you have a tube. You need to pick up stitches, and you're like, well, how do I pick up stitches? She has a video link, people, a video link. And she shows you step by step how to do it. And she does it slow enough where you can see it. She does excellent, excellent videos on techniques. So Kay Jones from a Bakery Bear podcast, fabulous patterns. I'm one of her Patreons, so I get every once in a while. She has a sock garland, which I'm just dying to make, but I have a few sweaters to knit first. But this is the National Parks colorway. This was the April Club National Park Week. And then she tells you what the stripes are. So it's even stripes of the tan is the Indiana Dunes. The dark brown is the Badlands. The aqua is the Virgin Islands National Park. The brick colorway, that red is the Petrified Forest. The yellow is Shenandoah. And the turquoise is Crater Lake. I wouldn't mind another one of these, Joanne, in some other different national parks. That would be great too. But, you know, maybe Acadia, Rocky Mountain, Glacier, you know, Isle Royale, just some of the places that we've been. But anyway, so today I split the yarn and undid it, and I have leftover, and I split the yarn so that I can go ahead and make the toe. So I need to, because I don't count my count my rows, duh, Dawn. I need to have John put these on to see where I can, if I can just add the toe, or if I need to rip back a bit for the toe. So that's one whip. That's almost done. I just need 2 toes. And so that's 3 whips, and I have one more. And this is also, I do believe this is KnitSpinFarm too. I do not remember the colorway. I don't remember the colorway, because I don't think this is, I don't think so. Because this is a Fiber Nymph Dye Works. This is called Dark and Stormy, and it has the self-striping 4 stripes. So this is not it. But anyway, this is the yarn in the ball form. Kind of my ball has squished out. But I knit this tube on a car ride and just kept knitting. What I did was I started with the cuff and just continued to knit down, knit down, knit down, knit down until I thought it was long enough, and then I finished with a cuff this time. So then I measured 4 inches down because he wears shorty socks, 4 inches down, and cut into that there and made an umbrella toe or an umbrella afterthought heel from K. Jones on both ends. And I'm going to need to split this in half. And my heel yarn is just some Western Yorkshire spinners, plain colorway, but it matches like almost perfectly with the color there. I thought, pretty cool, right? So it'll be my toes as well in this one. So I have a few more whips. I'm a whipaholic. But I am finishing things. So I should have these finished the next time I talk to you. And these here, and I'll see if I can't find the name of that. And my Forsythian. So I have some things to do. But yes, this was, you really do have to just bite the bullet and cut your yarn and try a tube. The Big Cranky Bill on Instagram is Joanne's husband, and he cranks socks, and he just opened for anyone to mail him skeins, and I think it's $15 a skein to crank your yarn, and he has from 54 stitches to 72 stitches. So I don't know exactly what he has in between, but I'm pretty sure he has 64, 72, 54, and probably something else in between. So this will save you so much time. In a weekend, I had the cuff and a heel and a body of a sock. For a sock, this is sport weight, this one here. So I have my husband's 11 and a half? 13 and a half 4E feet. Which, when I make it on fingering weight yarn, is an 88 stitch using a size 0 needle with 10 stitches to the inch, people. Yeah. So, just so you know, yeah, it takes forever to knit him a pair of socks. At least a good month. So this is a boom, an absolute boom. So, and when you belong to the club, there's a club price for having your yarn cranked by Cranky Big Bill at KnitSpinFarm. So that's what I did on my summer vacation. I do hope you like the background noise of my husband chiming in every once in a while, and the dog running off with my yarn. But he saved it. It's all good. It's all good. Obviously, Rex the Pity Bull likes alpaca. So welcome to the Knitting Concierge video podcast. I hope to be able to podcast about every 2 weeks, but we'll see about that, see how excited I get. May put in some bonus videos, like when I finish something. But thanks for tuning in and watching this very long video. It's almost an hour long. So thanks for tuning in to Knitting Concierge, and see you in a few weeks for the finished products. Talk to you later. Bye.